Okay, so we're talking about assumable loans. Again, hopefully not more than 60 minutes here. And of course, oh, here we go. Who am I? I grew up in Orange County, started in real estate in 1975, broker, investor, and mentor. I'm the regional broker for a company called Pelago. And I founded H&M Real Estate prior to that, and I've done over about 300 flips at this point, maybe a little bit more. This is my contact details. So my name, my phone number, email address, and my website. Um, that is my Instagram account as well. So what are we going to talk about today? Interest rates have changed buyer behavior. Um, I don't know who's attending here, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller, whether you're an agent. Whoever you are, this is great information for any of you that are here today. The markets has definitely slowed down because the interest rates are still high. I was hoping that about this time of the year, we would have been down into the fives. We're still in the sevens. Millions of FHA and VA loans remain below 4%. And these are loans that were taken back out during COVID era, 2000 to about 2022, 2023. FHA and VA loans are what we are going to be talking about. The mortgage itself has become a marketable asset. So understanding FHA and VA, locating assumable loans, which we will talk about at the end, structuring these offers so that they're accepted, avoiding any legal pitfalls, which we will talk about, and creating investor opportunities, which is what I am looking to do, and we'll talk about that as well. Buyer takes over seller's existing loan. Now, what you have to understand is I am talking about assuming a mortgage. So this is done legally through the existing mortgage company, and you assume the interest rate and remaining term, which stay intact, and buyer pays the equity difference, also known as the gap funding. I am not talking about subject to financing. Subject to financing is totally different. The lender never knows that you've taken over the responsibility for the loan. It remains in the seller's name. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the legal process of assuming a mortgage from that seller. Benefits for buyers, lower monthly payments. Obviously, if you have an interest rate at 2.5% on a loan that you're purchasing a home, and some of these homes, and we'll talk about that later as well, may have gap, which is what is owed on the loan and what they're selling it for, may have gaps as low as $20,000, $30,000. These are sometimes people that are just, wanting to get out of the financial responsibility of owning the home. So lower monthly payments, greater purchasing power. Obviously, if you're going to buy something and the interest rate's only at 2.5%, you can buy more at the end of the day. Less interest over the life of the loan and a competitive advantage. Benefits for sellers, differentiate yourself in the listing. So you're offering a potential advantage for the buyer and the seller themselves. So you can potentially get a higher sales price. Now that depends on the agent that has the property listed. And again, we'll talk about that as we get more into the weeds here. Larger buyer pool and faster marketing. The FHA process identify the servicer, which is easy to do. All that information is pretty much public record, but you're going to go through the seller to identify the current servicer. Request what's called an assumption package, and each lender has an assumption package, and they'll give you that package. And look at the assumption package as qualifying for the loan. yes, you do have to qualify for these loans. These aren't loans that you can just literally take over um, without going through the actual qualification process. You're going to submit your income and credit, you're going to receive approval, and then you're going to close at the end of the day. This process takes anywhere between, I want to say 45 and 60 days to do. They've taken longer, they've taken less, the average 45 to 60 days. The VA process is totally different. Qualification is required, but then we need to talk about the entitlement. The entitlement is the veterans basically, let's call it the gift that was given to him by the United States government. Everybody that's a veteran has the ability to buy a home, 0% down. It's called their entitlement. And that entitlement is used for purchasing a home. And it's not something that can be transferred to somebody else at the end of the day. So the VA process is that the veteran has to give up that entitlement, which is called the release of liability. Once that veteran releases that liability to the buyer, who does not have to be a veteran, it could be anybody, they lose that entitlement, which means that they can't sell this home and then go buy something else using the VA process. They would lose that ability. Now, the deals that we've done, the veteran has passed away. The wife couldn't afford the house. The veteran was older and wasn't planning on buying a house anyways. He just wanted to sell his house and downsize. There have been veterans that, their only choice at the end of the day to sell this property is to sell it to a person that is not going to use that entitlement. However, now if you are a veteran, you can release that veteran from that entitlement. So you would put your entitlement into place in place of that veteran who has it entitled in that property. Funding fee may apply. This is just like a regular loan. They're going to charge you some points here and there that you're going to have to pay. But know that this process can be done the same way at FHA, the VA, the process is the same. You just have to be more respectful because some veterans obviously don't want to lose their entitlement. And if that's the case, then that's fine. Then you move on and look at other properties. Finding deals. You can find them off the MLS, and that is if the agent listing the property is smart enough and knows that these properties are available for sale through the assumption process. You can check county records, you can check Pelago platform, you can do direct marketing, you can do investor networking, or you can go on to a newly created website that my son's going to debut here at the end. Structuring equity deal, you need cash down. You may need a second mortgage. So the second mortgages that we've been arranging through our preferred lenders are basically HELOC loans. So some of these have a gap of 100 or 200,000 or more. And to assume the loan, you would assume the first loan, and to be able to buy this house, and maybe let's say you only want to put 10% down, you're going to get a HELOC second loan on that property. So the other thing is seller carryback. So if you're not familiar with seller carryback, if I have a home for sale for 500,000 and I have a loan on there for 300,000, and I'm willing to carry back a loan on that property for, let's say, 100,000, which means that I'm going to become basically a bank. So we'll have a first, I'll be the bank, which is a seller carryback, and then you put 100,000 into the property. We sell it, and you make the payment to the first, and then you make the payment to the second, which is the seller. You can also use gift funds as well if you're structuring these deals. Investor applications, buy and hold. fix and flips, creative financing, exit strategy, marketing. So let's talk about buy and hold. What I am currently looking for are properties in Riverside with a gap of less than $50,000. And so as I'm looking for these properties that have 2.25%, 2.5% interest rate loans, I'm able to buy something that is very, very, very close to cash flowing. Maybe I'm 100 or 200,000, I'm sorry, $200, 100 or $200 in the negative. But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a property that I can basically take over that low interest rate loan, be able to cash flow or have a little bit of a negative, which I can use to offset my other income. Fix and flip, you can, purchase these to fix them and flip them if you'd like. Um, anytime there's deals like this, there's always creative financing. We talked a little bit about seller financing. Exit strategy depends on, who you are. If you're just a buyer, you're wanting to buy a house, something that you couldn't get into at 7% interest, but you find something at 2.5, and you have enough money down and the gap's low. And again, we'll talk about that at the end. Searching for properties by how much you can afford to pay every month, or you can search by the gap. Common mistakes: ignoring the equity gap, waiting to contact the servicer. When we put these deals together, we make sure that the listing agent, because all these properties are currently listed on the market, so it's a lot easier to work with properties that are listed on the market. We just have to educate that seller and the listing agent to make sure that they're on the same path that we are. There's discussions about if we get this into escrow, we have to basically have your seller contact the lender immediately, get us that package to the buyer so that they can start filling it out. That's what takes the time. That's what takes 45 to 60 days. Just going back and forth. And thank God we're, 2026 here, and everybody's got computers and they can upload all their information that the lender's asking for, and we can do pretty much everything online. Not discussing the entitlement is a big mistake. I don't want to enter a transaction where we have not discussed that with the seller. That's the first thing we do. We tell them, okay, this is the process. Our buyer is not a veteran, so you would be losing your entitlement. I want to make sure that you're okay with that. And if you're not okay with that, if you need it to go buy something else, then this is not something that we're interested in doing, and it's probably not going to work out. However, down the road, if you can't sell your home and you're getting desperate and you need to, please come back to us and we can talk about the entitlement itself, okay? Common mistakes: using inexperienced professionals. And I'll have a list of the professionals that I'm encouraging for you to work with. If you are a listing agent, an agent period, and you want to learn about this stuff, please let me know, reach out. We're just literally launching our website today. And in that, we're looking to get agents in different areas because it is going to cover all of California. So if you're interested in getting leads from the efforts that we're putting together, there is a 25% referral fee that comes back to the company. But the leads are free, headed your way, that you can talk to, and we will definitely train you in this process. If you're interested, reach out after we have the discussion here. Legal issues: release of liability. Again, we are doing this legally, so the liability is going to be released from the current seller to the buyer. Okay, this is not subject to This is literally, we're releasing the liability from the current seller. So when everything is done at the end of the day, the property closes. That property, if somebody runs the search, will be in the new buyer's name. That loan will be in the new buyer's name, and it'll show up in his credit report. Okay. It'll get removed from the old seller. There is an assumption agreement. Due on sale exceptions. This does not trigger any due on sale. So if you're familiar with due on sale, means that if you transfer the property from one person to the other, the lender can call the loan due. This is an exception to that. The lender is on board with everything that's going on. So that's really important. Occupancy requirements. On FHA, you are required to live in the property for a period of at least 1 year. So this is not something for investors. However, if you buy a VA loan, there is no such thing as an occupancy requirement. Don't ask me why the difference, but for investors, you want to look for those VA loans. However, it is more difficult because, again, you're asking the veteran to lose their entitlement, but it's out there. We've done deals like that where the veteran doesn't care, they're not with us anymore. Whatever the situation is, we've closed several transactions where that's the case. But occupancy requirements, if it's FHA, you're looking for yourself and you're looking to live in the property. If not VA, same thing. You can live there if you want, but it's not a requirement. Case studies. So 3.25%. I've seen them down, and I'll have my son go through that. I've seen them down as low as 2.5%. So obviously, the lower the interest rate is, the more it's going to save you. We may have loans that were taken out 10 or 15 years ago. The problem with those loans is, again, they were taken out 10 or 15 years ago. So the gap is going to be hundreds of thousands instead of 100,000 or 75,000 or 50,000 or whatever. Most of those loans were taken out right after COVID. But if it's an FHA or VA loan and it's been on the books for that long, now you have to figure out, okay, is it even worth assuming that loan because there's such a big down payment or a big gap? Not that we haven't done them. I mean, I've had a client put down $300,000 to fill the gap because it was a 2.5% interest rate loan. And it was like, I think it was like 700,000. So it was $1 million property. He put 300,000 down. Buyers achieve affordability impossible with new financing. Okay. And that's really the name of the game here, is being able to buy these properties with the low interest rate on there so that you can assume it. And if you're a buyer and you're buying something like this, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's kind of a gold mine, especially if it's something that you're going to buy and live in it forever. Marketing assumable listings. So if you're an agent, mention rate in the MLS, advertise payment savings, educate your buyers, and highlight monthly savings. And all that's done, honestly, through the website that we put together. But we will train the agents that are going to be marketing and handling the buyer leads that we're going to be getting in throughout the state. Action plan. Ask every seller about financing. It maybe not ask every seller, but I guess ask every seller, but sometimes they have no idea. We use a platform called PropStream. PropStream gives you all that information, whether it's a VA or FHA loan, when they took it out, how much is left, what are the payments every month. So that's where we get most of our information, but it's always good to ask your seller. The big question asking a seller, are you okay if somebody assumes your loan? Whether it's FHA or VA. VA is again, a bigger ask because you're asking them to lose their entitlement. FHA should be a no-brainer. Build an assumable search, which is going to be done through the website. Develop lender relationships. We have those available for you. However, you can use whoever you like. You just have to make sure that they're on board and they know what they're doing. Because if they don't, they can literally blow up your deal right towards the end. And then become that local expert. If you're an agent, we're happy to show you how to do that and how to become that expert. So these are the agent experts in the area. My son is obviously my name, but that's my son's name and that's his phone number. And he's focusing on Riverside right now. And Stephanie Howarth, who is on the call with us as well, is focusing on Orange County. I've got Eric Oles, one of my Pelago agents, and he's focusing on North Los Angeles. These are the three agents that we have in our network right now. Again, we're just literally introducing this to the public and to the agents. And once we get this rolling and up and running, we will be not hiring, but we'll be participating with agents in certain areas. And what I would do is I would go on the website and search your area by county to begin with to see how many actual FHA and VA assumable loans are in that area. And then you can claim that area. We'll start claiming by counties first, and then we'll start splitting it up into cities after that. Any questions before I turn it over to my son to show you the website?
Joe, this is Chantel. I do have one question. I know that you mentioned you would be providing leads at no cost with a 25% referral. Do you prioritize leads, or how does one agent get the lead? How does that work?
Okay, so right now, again, we're just literally launching this website today, and I'm going to start out picking, if you're interested, the agents in a particular county to begin with. Okay. And then once those agents get trained and spun up, they're going to get leads from that county to begin with. Okay. And then if we have an overflow of leads, like my son is taking care of Riverside, he's getting probably, I want to say 3 to 4 leads a week from this. And maybe we're going to start breaking that up so that we can share it with other Pelago agents. But to begin with, we're just keeping it to number one, the Pelago agents, number two that are trained, and number 3 by county to begin with. And then if we get a bunch of, like, if let's say you're up in Northern California in Sacramento or whatever, and you're getting like inundated, we're getting inundated with 10 to 15 leads a week, we'll probably split that up and share it with other agents in that area.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Helpful.
You're welcome. Any other questions on the assumables themselves or the process? Good or bad? Stories you've heard? Brokers telling you can't do this? People telling you can't do this? I mean, I've heard it all. It's out there. It's a matter of just educating people that this can be done. We've closed several transactions in the last couple of years. We're obviously looking to close more. This is a great tool if you're looking to buy a home. So you can reach out to either me or any of those agents that I referred you to there. If no other questions, then I'm going to turn it over to my son so he can show you the website and how to search the website and how to sign in and do all that sort of stuff. Joseph? Do I need to share something with you or are you good?
Yeah, I'll send you a request.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. All right, so let me grab this. Can everybody see?
Yeah.
All right, so this is called, I'm gonna hide this thing here. This is called Assumable Alert. If you go to assumablealert.com, you can actually see it for yourself. I'm logged in. If you're not logged in, you will not be able to see all the rates and all the juicy details that you want to see. So you can feel free to sign up for an account, log in, and you will be assigned. Currently, you will be assigned my dad as a realtor, but we will be parsing out those leads as we go. I've literally just launched this this morning, so you guys are the first to see it in public. But I've made this as simple as possible. Every single time I am speaking with one of my clients, uh, they are obviously looking for a house in a specific area, but they have two questions for me. They're like, "How much do I need to put down?" And can you find me a place that's under a certain amount? So I've made those things the primary thing that you do here. You'll see, what you want to search for. I'm just searching a couple of counties, but you can search for, let's say, um, just Irvine, for instance, as a city. And then you can decide your monthly budget. You can decide what your maximum down payment would be. And then there's also all of those standard fields here. But if I just look in Irvine, right now, I see that there's 7 properties available. You see a nice little map of where they are. Some are a little closer to the Spectrum, for instance. Some are a little more kind of closer to Tustin. And when you look at these, you will get some good options here for assumable loans. These are, I need to switch that here. These are the ones that you can assume, and you can actually see the different rates. So, like in Irvine, they're usually a little bit more on the expensive side. Sometimes the rates are a little bit higher, but we have them, of course, all over California. So you'll see this one has a 4.5% rate. If I look on the details, I can now go in and see what the rate is, the loan type, the balance that's on the rest of the loan. So when my dad was talking about the gap, you can see that this one is actually quite large. So this one may or may not make sense to some people, but we have a full calculator here that you can go and say, well, maybe I want to offer less, or maybe I want to put more of a down payment, and it will instantly update for essentially your assumable payment that you would have to pay. That includes not only the original loan, but a new loan you might need to get for the gap here, and all of your um, property taxes, home insurance, things like that. You can change these on the calculator. I also have an FHA solar option, which we don't need to talk about today, but you get a full breakdown of exactly what you might want to do and how you might want to mess around with things here. And then you can also, when you're searching, you can save these searches. And when you save your search, then it will alert you every single day to new properties or to properties that have had their prices changed. So if this one, let's say, was on the market, but they decided to change their prices, then you'll still get alerted again, just in case that price change has allowed you to do that. Um, and for the realtors, essentially, uh, who we're working with, the nice thing you'll be able to do is you'll be able to see all of your clients. You'll be able to see all of their searches. You'll be able to help them create searches so that they don't have to be, looking at this interface all day long, and they will still continue to get emails from the system so that they know exactly what is out there and what's available. We want to make sure this is as easy as possible for somebody to use. If you have questions, if you have problems with it, I'm the guy to talk to. You guys have my information, so you can feel free to reach out to me, of course. But uh, there's so many homes available. Like if I look in Orange County, um,
Could you do me a favor? Look for Riverside
Yeah,
and look for a gap of less than 75.
yeah, that's what I was about to do. So, like,
Okay,
if my dad's investment strategy, right? He's looking out in Riverside County and looking for a gap less than $75,000 for an assumable loan. So if I update, I can actually see that there are 79 properties that fit that criteria. So now I can go in and say, um, maybe some of these rates are a little too high, and I can continue to filter down. Maybe I want the max rate to be 5%, let's say
4.
4%. Okay, we'll change it to 4. Uh, how many properties come back? 8 properties, right? So now this is now a quick hit list for my dad to kind of take a look at and say, okay. Um, but also maybe some of them are FHA. And if he wants to make them rentals, he can't do that. So all we do is just change this to VA, update that. And now we have 6 properties. So these are 6 properties that he could call and say, hey, do you want to make a deal? Um, and you can see that the gap here on this one is 32,000, 42,000, 32, 71. So these fit within his investment criteria. And you can actually see that these as well have had some price decreases recently. That's always a good signal um, to look and see if maybe the seller is willing to do a deal. And of course, you can go into the property, you can look at all the normal pictures like you would on any MLS. You can change stuff. And if you hit contact agent, you can send in Riverside, it'll be me a message that says, "Hey, can you tell me more about this, or can I assume this property?" And you'll get a quick response from me or from an agent who's working in the area. And I think that's a pretty good tour.
And on this specific property, I have reached out to the seller and the listing agent, and they were
Mhm.
not interested early on. But I can see that they've been dropping the price. And I told them, I'm an investor, so I'm not going away. If at one point in time you can't sell this and you want to return to my conversation, let me know. So really, that's what I'm waiting for here. Is this
Yeah.
in this specific property? That's what I'm waiting for. And you can see on the right there under the financing snapshot that you've got an estimated cash flow of 422 negative. Okay, I'd like that to be like 100 or less, but this is a possibility if you're looking to purchase something in California to buy and hold, um, and you don't mind the negative cash flow because you can offset that with other income that you have. This is a great idea.
Yep. So do you want to see anything else or any more questions or?
I had a question. When
Sure.
you're looking at the initial card, not when you click into it, I'm not sure if it's here or not, but
Yep.
the
Like
rate,
one of these.
yeah, the rate isn't the same all the time in the card and what's down below. Like right there, the first one, it says 575 and below it's 452. Well, not that one, the other one. So,
This one's 452.
but in the card, in the green, it's 575. Why is it different?
In here.
Yes, if you look.
Oh, so in this particular case, so I've got some stuff we didn't talk about. FHA SWT is a different program. It's not for assumptions, and my search is currently trying to do the best available option for you. So that's why it's showing that. But essentially, um, that's a different program where essentially you buy solar and then it can reduce your electricity and therefore kind of reduce the sort of total cost of ownership for the home. It's a great program for the right sort of property, but that's what's being sort of added here. Um, but just for the assumables, then that rate should look the same. But what this rate up above here would essentially be your blended rate, meaning that like the on this particular property, right? The initial sort of assumable rate is 4.52%. But because the gap is so large, and the interest rate on a second loan that would have to be for this gap, it essentially comes out to about, if you like, here's the calculator to kind of make it a little bit more sense. If I offered almost $1,000,001 for this house, and I put a 10% down payment, then that's $109,000. That means that, I can kind of play with this, but what this is the average rate you can get a second loan for. So if you change this, you'll see that, like, if you pay more for the down payment, your adjustable payment will go down, and therefore the sort of what we call blended rate will go down, or it will go up depending on how much or how little you actually put for a down payment. So this number over here is essentially showing you what your effective rate or your blended rate would be when you purchase the home with that particular option. And I estimate on here that you're going to pay a certain amount in order to do that. Unless you tell me that you're paying a particular certain amount up there, then that's what the calculation essentially is based on.
Okay, so basically the items in white below is what they're paying, what the gap is, it's their status. And
Yes, this
could
is
be-
them, and this is if you acquired it and you had to pay, certain amounts or whatever. That's what I'm calculating here. So that becomes like your effective rate. And in this particular case, this one wouldn't really make sense to do an assumption on, unless you just wanted to sink a whole bunch of cash into it, which some people do, some people don't. But for a lot of people, at least like what my clients are looking for is they want kind of a minimal down payment. So you're trying to look for a gap that's much lower. But in Orange County, it tends to be much higher because the homes have appreciated a lot more in the last 4 or 5 years.
Is there, I didn't see a place where we can make our notes. You said if we had customers that logged in, we could see their accounts. Is there some other place, like if that one, like the one Joe was looking at in Riverside, if he wanted to say, I
Yeah.
contacted this person, a private note?
Yeah. Yeah. So like, this is a kind of a realtor view. If I'm a client, and I see you guys are joining in here, thank you. We, if there's any open inquiries, I can kind of see that you're able to make sort of notes and all kinds of things. I'm logged in as the administrator, so I've restricted myself from seeing some of these things essentially. But as a realtor, you can go in here and you can mess around with what you need to mess around with. But like if let's see if any of you guys have stuff yet. Nothing yet, but ultimately, once let me do. Hold on, let me change to this. Let's see if I got. This is This is not the public site, but this is just like a demo site for me on my computer. But I can kind of show you the same thing. So I can see, oh, look, my client has 2 properties they're asking about, and I can go to each one, and I can say like, oh, I can now mark this as resolved. Like, oh, I've checked out on that property for that person. So it kind of becomes sort of a mini sort of CRM for you. But you can go in here and you can actually see what your person is inquiring on, what favorite homes they might have. You can log client outreach if you want. You can add private notes. If there's any other inquiries there, they have them. You can actually see what searches they have going on. And again, this is a development environment, so I don't have the, let's see if this one, yeah. So I can actually go into what their searches are and see them. And I want this to be, I built this for me. So it's kind of a proactive way to see what's happening. I'm going to be making this a little bit more robust, but I can also then create a search, just like I'm searching in the front end. I can create a search for my clients, and then they will just automatically get those emails, and I can be alerted as well to see what my clients are seeing. So then I could say, hey, did you see that property that just, lowered its price by $20,000? Maybe we should check it out again. Do you want to see, that kind of thing. Because I find, everyone's busy, they're working, they're living their lives, and they're not sitting on my website all day. But that's my job to go look at these things and go find them. So that's what kind of the back end for sort of your realtors will see, so they can kind of help you as a client.
I know you're building this out and just showing it, but would you have like an email address that you want us, as we're testing things or features we would like to send information to?
Yeah, sure. I can put that in the chat somewhere, wherever that is. Here it is.
If you have someone else building this for you, ask them for a feedback connector. Just not for me, like, but anybody, if
Oh
client.
no, I'm building it, so I'm happy
Oh,
to just I'll probably put like a little feedback form for realtors and stuff like that in the site. I just haven't done that yet because it's mostly just me using it at the moment. So um, I haven't needed to feedback because I can talk to myself.
great
But you
job.
can
Looks nice.
thank you.
When you showed, it said recently reduced. I'm assuming that's pulling from the MLS and like whatever status is there, or
Yes. hmm Yeah. When you see, I don't really have a good way to search for those at the moment, but um, yeah, when you're seeing that, then that little thing, like this was just listed recently, um, and then here's like a price decrease. But yeah, that's just pulling straight from the MLS. I couldn't tell. Was someone asking a question?
Any other questions?
can we make
Okay.
it so that this is like our CRM? So we don't have to
It
go.
can it can act like that. You can use it like that, and if you have more features you want, I can always add them. But also, if you feel you want to use some other CRM, feel free. Like I don't want to trap you in this site if you don't want to be, but I also want this site to be useful for you if you're an agent, essentially working these uh, for your clients. I want you to be able to sort of keep track of them here if you want to.
Any other questions? Okay, if no other questions, and thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. If you need any more information, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, call me, text me, whatever form you'd like to use. And then we'll go from there. Like I said, we're just rolling this out today, so please go on the website, use it, sign in, and as we get more people participating, hopefully, Central California, Northern California, we can't handle those leads. So if you're in those areas, please sign up, and then we'll reach out to you and get you started.
Can I ask a question, Joe? So like
Yeah.
I live in Ventura, but I travel a lot to the Sacramento area, Folsom and stuff. Until more people join, could we get leads from different areas?
You can. I just want to make sure that you're able to, service the leads that you get. So, for example, we've been getting leads in the Bay Area and stuff, and it's a little bit more difficult because the conversation with the listing agent is, I have a client that's interested, but I'm in Southern California. Would you mind showing them the property? Or if you have somebody in that area that can show them the property, it can be done. It's just a little bit more logistical, that, it's harder to do when you're not there.
I'm personally looking more for us to flip ourselves and to
Okay.
get the property. So it'd be getting leads, not for clients, but from my family.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. We can talk about that.
Yeah, you can essentially find the property leads by just searching. You don't have
Okay.
to have a territory of leads being sent to you. The leads are the buyers who would be sent. And for any realtors wondering, I built this knowing that that might be the case, where if you're assigned a particular territory, you can actually just say, pause this territory for now. We won't kick you out. It just won't give you any new folks until you do it. Say like, I'm going on vacation, and you can pause for a while, and then we won't send you any leads for Orange County, and then okay, you're back. And so if there's situations like this, you're going to be able to sort of control if and when leads are coming to you, because we want to make sure that the leads are going to be utilized and serviced properly. But and if not, then we will kind of help you sort of reassign them if you need to.
To that point, like, if you sent a lead to somebody, is there a way that you could have a feedback loop or something so that you see that they're being
Yep.
addressed?
There is. Again, I didn't want to go too deep into that, on mixed audience here, but the um, the clients that you have, you can actually reassign them if you want, and like to some other realtor if you want, or I can do it as an admin, of course, but also as a client, I have to sign out of here and. Give me a sec. Okay, so as a client, I get to see who my realtor is. Again, this is just a random fake person. But if for whatever reason this realtor isn't serving me, they can request that we like, hey, this gal isn't working out. Can you know, help me find somebody else? So they can do that as well. But it won't be an automatic thing. It'll just be a review thing. So we can contact you if you're an agent, say, hey, look, your clients are or this particular client's unhappy. What do you want to do about it? But I would never reassign it without ever talking to you. So this is essentially what a client sees essentially. So this is kind of their dashboard. They can say,
You're
"Hey,
not sharing anymore.
oh, I'm sorry. Did it's weird.
I was seeing it.
Did that work?
Yeah,
Okay. So they'll be able to see, everything here for the realtor. They can request a different realtor if they want, but they won't get it without sort of our approval. They can also see what they're inquiring about. They can see all kinds of different stats, and then see kind of like what are the newest matches for their homes, all this kind of stuff. I found that, again, a lot of people might see this kind of the first couple of days or something like that. Maybe they're looking on there, but they tend to use the emails more and say they will get an email saying like, hey, you've got 6 new properties that showed up today. You should go check them out, and then give them kind of a preview of a couple of them in the email, but then send them over to the website again for the rest. And then essentially as an agent, you'll be able to kind of see this view on behalf of a client, create searches, do things for them so that you can be proactive and go out there and say, hey, you may or may not have seen this in your email, but um, there's some new properties. You want to check them out. Would you be interested? So this is kind of the client view of what that looks like. But yeah.
any other questions?
Will this recording be sent out? I sort of joined a little late. I was about 15 minutes late, so just the beginning portion.
Yes, I will, as soon as I get it back, I will post it on YouTube and send it out.
Any plans to send out links and stuff via text versus like in the
Yes, text will be sent as well, where essentially it'll be a notification that you have 5 new properties. Here's a link. Just go check it out on your phone.
nice thing?
Yep.
Speaking of that, ask Bush to go around to it again, because it's summer, the grass is growing fast. So the house.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and finish. Thank you all for attending. I appreciate it. And thank you for the great feedback and ideas, and we'll move forward and keep everybody that's interested posted. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.